the 1960s. Air travel was booming.
The untold story of the Boeing 747, how one jet changed the world forever. If you had stood in Boeing's boardroom in the late 1960s, you would have thought the company had lost its mind. They weren't just building a plane. They were building a flying gamble so massive, so risky, it could have destroyed them. And yet, that gamble became the most iconic jetliner in history. The Boeing 747, the queen of the skies. But here's the twist. This airplane, this engineering marvel, rarely happened. It was born out of panic, built in desperation, nearly killed by its rivals, and only survived because of one thing: human stubbornness. This isn't just the story of an airplane. It's the story of how a machine reshaped the way humans connect across the planet, setting the stage, 1960s aviation boom. The 1960s, air travel was booming. The Boeing 707 and Douglas DC-8 had made crossing oceans possible in hours, not days. But here's the truth. Those jets weren't built for comfort. They were loud, cramped, and tickets were so expensive that only the wealthy could fly. Airlines wanted more seats, more efficiency. Passengers wanted space. And Juan Trippe, the head of Pan American World Airways, the biggest airline at the time, wanted something bigger than anyone had dared imagine. A jet twice the size of a 707. Something that would change the game forever. The gamble and Joe Sutter's team. Now imagine being Boeing in that moment. You're already stretched thin, investing in military projects, trying to compete with Douglas and Lockheed. And here comes Pan Am, demanding the impossible. Boeing could have said no, but instead they said, yes, we'll build it. Enter Joe Sutter, an engineer with a reputation for solving problems no one else could. Sutter assembled a team known as the Incredibles. Why? Because they were tasked with designing an aircraft larger than anything that had ever flown. And they had just 29 months to do it. If they failed, Boeing would collapse, building the impossible factory. Here's the kicker. Boeing didn't even have a building big enough to assemble the 747. So, what did they do? They built the world's largest factory in Everett, Washington. The structure was so enormous that workers joked about needing bicycles just to get from one end to the other. In winter, clouds literally formed inside the ceiling. This was more than construction. It was chaos. Crews worked around the clock. Engineers slept on the floor. Families moved to Everett just to be part of it. It wasn't just a project, it was a crusade. Engineering breakthroughs. The 747 wasn't just big, it was revolutionary. For the first time, passengers would board a double-aisle aircraft. The famous hump? That wasn't luxury design, it was a practical decision. Boeing thought the 747 might eventually be replaced by supersonic jets, so they designed the nose to open like a cargo plane. The hump was just to keep the cockpit out of the way. Funny how practicality became iconic. Then came the engines. Pratt & Whitney had to create the JT9D, a jet engine powerful enough to lift a skyscraper with wings. The first versions nearly tore themselves apart during testing. Engineers patched problems under pressure. Each breakthrough wasn't just a step forward, and it was survival. Death before flight. And just as the Queen was ready to fly, history struck back. Across the Atlantic, the Concorde was stealing headlines. Who wanted a slow jumbo when you could fly faster than sound? The world thought the future was speed, not size. Then came the oil crisis of the 1970s. Fuel prices skyrocketed, airlines panicked. Orders were canceled. Boeing suddenly had warehouses of unsold 747s. The company teetered on the edge of collapse. For a moment, it looked like the Queen of the Skies would never take off. The miracle of survival. But here's where history took a turn. The Concorde, as glamorous as it was, could only carry about 100 people. It was too expensive, too limited. The 747, it could carry hundreds, families, students, pilgrims. Suddenly, the economics flipped. Airlines realized that one jumbo jet could move more people across the world at a lower cost per passenger. The 747 wasn't just a plane, it was a money printer. And so the 747 survived. More than survived, Kane had conquered. From New York to Tokyo, London to Sydney, the Queen of the Skies shrank the world. Legacy and emotion. The 747 became more than transportation. It became a symbol. The President's Air Force One, a 747, humanitarian missions carrying food to famine zones, a 747, evacuation flights carrying refugees to safety, a 747. In Hollywood blockbusters, in airport silhouettes, in childhood memories of stepping into a double-decker plane for the first time, the Queen was everywhere. Today, sleek twins like the 787 and A350 dominate the skies. Airlines retire their 747s one by one, but ask anyone who flew her, and you'll hear it in their voice. The 747 wasn't just an airplane. She was an experience, a flying cathedral, a machine that turned borders into bridges. And here's the truth. The Queen of the Skies may fade from airports, but in the story of humanity, she'll never disappear. Because she didn't just carry passengers, she carried dreams, and dreams never retire.